It was, I thought, another good day. A lot of energy out there on the field. We did start out practice with a third down and long pass under pressure series, and our defense really, I thought, looked pretty explosive. And we'll watch the tape to see if that was because we were playing so well on defense or some marginal things offensively. There's always a balance there, but certainly, without question, I think we're further along on our defensive front, more athleticism, more guys with explosion, and they're just bigger and stronger, and that is going to be something that's really going to help. During the other part of practice, I think our kicking game is coming around. You're always concerned when you lose a senior punter like Ethan, but I think Zaleski's really done a good job. He's striking the ball well, so we're pleased with that. And so that's going to be an important portion of our game. We continue to install, a lot of our parts on offense and defense as you're going through camp, and I think we're making progress here. Sometimes that's a process. You'd like it to look perfect, but if we were that way, we wouldn't need to practice. I know some of my colleagues out there are not utilizing all these 29 practices. We are. I think it's important for us to take every advantage we can to develop our football team. So this time, any questions?
Okay. You talk about your defensive line and in the interior, you got some proven guys, but any of the young guys, I know I've seen a couple of freshmen you're kind of looking at,
right.
Are you looking at them hard, or maybe a guy or two could maybe help you depth-wise this season, or what are your thoughts on that?
Inside, we're looking at Ravonte Holt. I think he can bring something special. He's still a little bit undersized, but with his size, I think he's got some excellent strength, and then along with it, he's got suddenness. He's got a good quickness in there. So I think that's going to be important. I think at the defensive end position, I don't see any freshmen rising to that level, but certainly in the inside, the interior defensive tackle, I think we're going to need to take a hard look at one of those freshmen. We've got 3 defensive tackles. We'll take a look at all of them, but right now I'd say Ravonte may be a little bit ahead of the other 2.
With Tim Zaleski, it looks like, just from us watching him, he's gotten a hold of a few. Does he have a pretty high ceiling when it comes to leg strength? Is that one of the things you guys liked about him?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, he's got long levers. He was, a really good athlete out of St. Rita in Chicago. He's got a competitive nature, which is a skill set that you're always looking for. And there's no doubt. I mean, I've seen him connect on a couple punts that are 60 yards, and he's doing that more than just by chance. Now, he hadn't had a chance to punt in a game yet, and there's always a difference. I know I go up to Jacoby, and I'm good off the driving range, and you go to a Cowboy Joe event, and there's 200 people around. I don't feel so confident. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to work through some fundamental things. But we think I think he's going to have a great career here.
Mm-hmm. Also, too, Craig, I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, I know punting is a lot of technique, but I mean, 6'5", 215 pounds is the pure size and strength help as a punter?
Without question. An old high school coach one time told me, if you don't have a punter, take your biggest, strongest, most athletic guy and make him your punter. And his skill set, because of his range and his size, that's what you're looking for.
I know Nick did fairly well in spring, and he was out there a little bit today, but is it safe to say that that's Tim's job, or is there any competition there for Nick?
No, I think it's probably Tim's job to lose, and we're going to continue to work with him there. And what's going to be important for Tim to do, he was a position player before on scrimmage downs. He's got to take that competitive nature and hone it down. You hopefully maybe you punt 2 or 3 times in a game, and I know that's being idealistic, but every time you're out there, you've got to perform, and so that's what we're honing in on.
Craig, you're going to full pads tomorrow for the first time, and I'm sure, like you said, it probably won't be a hit fest necessarily, but it's an important step in the evaluation, isn't it, that first day in full pads?
Yeah, it is, and we've got some drills to do that. A thing you're always concerned about is how much you block low, but that's part of the college game, so we'll do some cutting tomorrow. There's only so many times you want to expose your football team to live cuts, but like I said, we're going to cut in the first game, and so we need to be prepared for that. There's going to be some other activities that we do that are going to be a little bit more aggressive, but then there's going to come a balance. Okay, if we are going to use these 29 practices and they're spread out, you can't have a hit fest every day. I mean, what a lot of the old timers are not realizing is yeah, you used to do 2-a-days, but you did 10 days of them, maybe 2 weeks. Well, we're in a month of camp, and so you got to spread some of those activities along.
At snapper, are you pretty comfortable with what you've seen from Colton so far?
Yeah, losing Torelli, and a lot of people didn't know who he was, and that's a good thing. But we think Donnie's really come along, and team has embraced him, and he's got a competitive nature as well.
So with Sid and Drew with their ailments, Craig, any other, how's the injury report, at least as of now, anything new? Or
those guys are going to be brought back along, both Sid and Drew. But Skylar Miller today, slight tweak in his hamstring. Chavez has got a little slight tweak, but you're going to have some of that, but nothing's going to keep those guys out.
And I haven't seen Matt List around. Is he still around, or are you just bringing him later so you can get other guys a look?
He had he had a pretty significant shoulder repair,
Right.
and as a result was not going to be cleared for fall camp. And so he'll be integrated back in when school starts. He's working on the grounds crew right now. I saw him on the tailgate lot, but it was a situation where the medical staff said he's not going to be cleared until we get ready when school starts.
Is it a hamstring tweak as well with Chavez?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably not as severe as maybe I don't know who the other one that has a hamstring pull right now that we're concerned about. Drew. Now Drew will be added back. It's not like a long-term deal, but Drew's was it was more of a pull.
So at fullback, you got Jalen there. Is it Burrows? Or those kind of your two guys?
Those are the two guys right now we're looking at, and it's good to have a couple fullbacks out there. But Drew's really developed into a heck of a football player.